What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to be going over who the Canucks may take at that 11 spot in the upcoming 2023 NHL draft. Before we get into that though, I would like to thank you guys so much for the support on the last video. I really enjoyed chatting with some of you guys in the comments, so if you guys have any suggestions on who the Canucks might take at 11 that I don't include in this video, please comment them down below. And also, if you guys want to see a particular video, or if you want me to cover a specific team or something like that, also feel free to comment that down below. Now, if you haven't already, remember to click that subscribe button and leave a like on the video if you're enjoying it. But without further ado, kick back, relax, and let's get right into the video. Now, I think the main target for the Canucks in this upcoming draft has to be a defenseman, and more specifically has to be a right shot defenseman. I think many of us agree that the Canucks are lacking on the back end, and I'll say that proudly as a Canucks fan. So I think the number one target for the Canucks at number 11 is going to be David Reinbacher. Reinbacher is a pretty big defenseman, and he can skate very well for his size, and he also can take the body. He is right-handed, and Reinbacher really excels at outlet passes. He's a great passer. He has very good patience and vision. And his outlook is probably like a top 4 D-man in the NHL. He isn't going to be a guy that puts up a ton of points, but the Canucks don't really need that. They have Quinn Hughes, and they just added Filip Hronek. So David Reinbacher would really give the Canucks that number 2 defenseman that they need that has size. Now, I think a lot of people are going to be surprised that I don't have Axel Sandin-Pellikka on this list, but that is just because although he's very good, I think I saw Craig Button have him in his top 5 in his projections, but he's a very good defenseman. But the thing is, a lot of the hype around him comes from his offensive upside. But Axel Sandin-Pellikka is a smaller defenseman with offensive upside, very much like what the Canucks have already in Quinn Hughes and Filip Hronek. So you don't really want to have 3 smaller defensemen who are all offensive defensemen, right? That's why I think David Reinbacher would really fit well in Vancouver. But I think if he's not there, I don't think the Canucks should force the pick to take Axel Sandin-Pellikka. I know you kind of want to draft like best available, but also you want to draft for your need. So I would say the Canucks should be on the lookout for a center. So that's what we're going to get into next. We're going to look at some of the centers that might be available for the Canucks at 11. So in the case that Reinbacher is gone by the time we get to the 11th pick, I think if Oliver Moore is available, I think that's the guy you go with. Oliver Moore is just a really fast center, right? His speed is amazing. His transition game's unreal. He's very good at attacking the defenders and forces the defense to kind of back up, so he pushes them out. It makes breaking out much easier on his wingers and his defensemen. Next year, he's going to be playing at the University of Minnesota. He's also a fantastic anticipator, right? So he anticipates play very well. This year, he had 75 points in 61 games with the National Team Development Program, and he's just continuously getting better. Like, he started the season a little bit slow, but towards the end, he was just producing at a great rate. So I think if you can get more here, I don't think he will be available, but if he is and the Canucks get him at 11, I would consider it like not a huge steal, but it would be a little bit of a steal in my opinion. Now, the next guy we're going to talk about is Dalibor Dvorski. I also don't think he'll be available at 11, but the chance that he is there, like, I would say is a bit higher than the chances of Oliver Moore being there. So Dvorski, his build's pretty good. He's 6'1", 185 pounds. He can play center, but he has played right wing as well, so he can play both. I think I could see him playing center. I don't know. It just depends on how he transitions to the NHL, I guess. But this year in the Allsvenskan, he had 14 points in 38 games, which is, it's all right. But in the most recent U18s, he had 13 points in 7 games against competition his age, right? So that's very good to see. And he's also played at the World Juniors. He played for Slovakia in 2021, 2022, And then he also played for them at the past World Juniors, the 2022-2023s, right? So that's a good thing to see with him. He is one of the younger players in this draft. Like currently, I'm pretty sure he is still 17. Yeah, he's still 17. His birthday is June 15th. So, but that by the time the draft comes, he'll be 18. But he's still fairly young. So Dvorski, his skating is pretty good, but the only issue is he lacks a bit of that explosiveness. But his shot is amazing. He has a very good quick release, and his wrist shot's amazing. And then his playmaking ability is also very good, sorry. So his build's pretty good. It's a good build for center, and yeah, I think there's a better chance of Dvorski being here. So I think if he's available and Reinbacher and Oliver Moore are not, then you go Dvorski. Now the next guy we're going to talk about, I have a strong feeling he is going to be available at number 11 for the Canucks. So this would be, I would say this is more drafting for position, right? The Canucks could use a defenseman, hopefully a right shot defenseman, or center, right? So I know they're looking for a right shot center, but there aren't a ton going to be available when it comes to number 11. You're starting to see teams draft more for need these days rather than best available. So at 11, if the Canucks want to, they could take a winger. So I'm sure there will be a good winger, maybe someone like Ryan Leonard that falls down to 11. But I think if you're the Canucks, you really got to see if you can get David Reinbacher, right? Like you need that right shot defenseman. But anyway, so the next guy we're going to talk about, he should be available at number 11. So this is if Reinbacher isn't there, Moore isn't there, Dvorski isn't there, which there is a good chance that they're all not available there. Then I think they should go for Samuel Honzek. I'm going to butcher that name, but he's currently playing for the Vancouver Giants in the WHL. And this guy's huge. He's 6'4", 185, so he's 3 inches taller than Dvorski. They're similar height. Maybe he could put on a bit of weight, but he'll be a big boy. He already is a very big boy. So this year with the Vancouver Giants, he had 56 points in 43 games, which is very good. He's already played North American hockey, right? So you'd like to see that. That will help in his development. And then he also played at the World Juniors in 2021-2022. He played 4 games and he had 0 points. And then this year at the World Juniors, he had 0 points in 2 games. But he's still young, right? So it's not a big concern that he didn't put up points at the World Juniors. It's just about the experience, right? So yeah, he's very big. And one thing with Honzek is he's very good at using that size. Sometimes you see these big guys, they don't really utilize their size, but Honzek uses his size very well. And then for his height, you would think, oh, okay, maybe his skating isn't very good, but his stride is very nice. It's a very long stride. He's not the fastest guy, or he's not the best skater, right? But for a big boy, his skating's pretty good. And then on top of that, the playmaking ability that comes with him is very good. And his hands are very, very good for being 6'4", right? So now the next guy we're going to talk about here is Dimitri Samoshev. So he is a left shot defenseman, but something tells me the Canucks are going to take a defenseman, right? They're kind of in the market for one, unless they trade up, but we'll talk about that after this. But Samoshev is 6'4", 201 pounds. He's defense, obviously, like we said. He's not the biggest producer, right? Like you wouldn't be drafting Samoshev to put the puck in the net, right? So this year he played a bit in the KHL, but he spent most of his time in the MHL. And like I said, his offensive game needs work. Like sometimes he'll join the rush, but then he just doesn't really do much with the puck, right? Like his offensive awareness isn't great, but for his height, he is also a good skater, and his transition game is pretty good, and he's very good at making those outlet passes, right? So he's a big mobile defense. So I think, like I said, Reinbacher isn't there, then that's just a huge loss for the Canucks. Maybe they trade down a bit, and then they see, obviously you don't trade down if Oliver Moore is there. Even if Dvorski's there, you pick him, but then if those guys aren't available, maybe you trade down and see which one of Samoshev, Honzek, or even Wallander. He's been doing pretty good. And then if you can trade down, and I guess if Axel Sandin Pellikka has fallen that low, maybe take him. But I think all of us would agree that we would love for Vancouver to end up with David Reinbacher, right? Or Oliver Moore. That perfect world, you get Oliver Moore, David Reinbacher. So But yeah, let's look at maybe some trades the Canucks might make. Now, I think I speak for all Canucks fans when I say I do not want them to trade this pick, right? They already traded that other first round pick, I think at 17th, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong, but they traded that pick, but they got Hronik out of it, so it's not the end of the world, right? They still got a good defenseman who can play the right side. So in a sense, I understand the trade, but you got to keep this pick. You got to kind of bolster that prospect pool a little bit, right? We got Lakaramaki coming up. You just got Kravstov. Hopefully, Podkolzin's gonna do well. You got Hoglander. I wouldn't call those Podkolzin and Hoglander prospects anymore by any means. But you got some young players coming up, but the prospect pool needs something more. But I saw that the Canucks were interested in Lafreniere. So he had 39 points in 81 games on the Rangers' third line, right? He wasn't given a great opportunity, so he could produce more, but the issue I have with this is it's another winger, right? So if you're trading that 11th overall pick, I think you got to try and get maybe Ryan Lindgren. I know he's an RFA for the Rangers, so maybe something like the 11th and maybe Besser for Lindgren and Lafreniere. I don't know if that does it, but something along those lines. I just came up with that quickly, and then maybe you trade it for a right-handed D, right? We've already seen them do that. Maybe they do it again, right? So if Reinbacher isn't there, maybe they trade it. But like I said, I think I speak for all Canucks fans when I say keep the pick, draft someone. Even if you're drafting a winger, it's not ideal. Like, I hope they draft a center or a defenseman there. But with the draft, it seems like teams are drafting more for need now, right? And center and defenseman are those premium positions, right? So if a good winger falls to you, I think you still just make that pick rather than trading it. But yeah, if you guys have any other thoughts, maybe some trade proposals, maybe leave them down below and I'll make a reaction video to that. But that's all for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you disagree with something I said or you agree strongly, just comment her down below. Let me know your thoughts on the video. Maybe let me know your thoughts on who you think they're going to take. But that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys